Okay, Beyond the Gates fans, let me just say, wow. This was a great start to the week. I mean, seriously, the fact that this episode was what was supposed to be Thursday's episode. So I guess you could say that today's episode, which was supposed to be Friday's episode, will be even better. But I gotta say, straight up 10 out of 10. Um, the Anita and Naomi scenes were just adorable. And I was right about Detective Morgan or Malone, Detective Malone being in cahoots with Joey. And it seems that maybe even Jacob's own father, the I believe chief of police, might be in some shady dealings of his own. But I gotta say, this episode had my attention the entire time. So before going further into the video, oh wow, first of all, this episode marks a month since the series has been on the air, so that's pretty cool. And this next episode is episode 20. It just feels like so much has happened in so little time, which is a major contrast to the Tyler Perry shows I review. So, wow, because by the time we get to episode 22, that's like the same length of episodes for a season of Sisters or The Oval, but it truly does feel like so much has happened. And people wonder why I'm giving this show so much praise compared to my demeanor in the Sisters content. But make sure you like and subscribe. And remember, Sisters is off the air for quite a while. The Oval is off the air for quite a while. House of Pain starts back today, but kind of like with Papa's House, it's only a 20-minute show. So I believe the season should be over sometime next month. There's only a handful of episodes left in the current season. Papa's House only has 4 episodes left as well, meaning that Beyond the Gates is going to have to carry the channel up until, July 19th. Oh, wait. July 16th if I decide to review Sister Season 9. So make sure you support the Beyond the Gates content because it truly, truly does matter. So we pretty much start off with, I believe this is the first time we got the name for Jacob's father, Elon. He's having a meeting at the Depri estate talking with Anita. Anita, we learn a lot about her in this episode. And for the people like, oh, we need more Anita and Vernon. This is where we get a lot of Anita, and I like it. We get a lot more backstory. After her days in a group and being a solo artist and being an actress, she kind of turned to, being a loving wife, mother, grandmother, basically, a family woman. And on top of that, giving back to a lot of humanitarian charity, organizations. So there's an upcoming charity and, they're kind of planning what they want to do for it. Now, Anita wants to make it clear that she doesn't just want to donate money and that's it. She wants to be involved with the upcoming fundraiser event. And the thing that they're missing right now is some sort of musical act. Now, I want to be completely honest here. I think based off what Anita was saying later in the episode to Naomi about how she misses her old bandmates and whatnot, or group mates, I think we might see Anita reunite with her group and then they'll perform at the event because her big thing is like beating the fundraiser record. And I think that's exactly what she will do. I think that's going to be a return to form to her career. And she is going to just, kill it. Because before Elon leaves to meet with Jacob, he does mention how his wife, still to this day has her records on repeat. So I think we are getting foreshadowing of Anita bringing back, the career that she put aside when she was ready. It wasn't like, I love the fact that we're really seeing different layers to the characters where you have Danny and Smitty who put their careers on hold because of their husbands. Whereas Anita, you could tell based off what she said to Naomi, it was time. She had a great run. She has no regrets. Being part of a group, being a solo artist, and being an actress, she just felt it was time to move to the next phase of her life. And that doesn't mean she can't look back and reminisce and not miss those days, but it clearly seems that she made the choice to leave that stuff behind, as opposed to, let's say, Vernon requesting that she no longer do those things before, she became his wife and whatnot. So later on, we go over to the police station. And just real quick here, Naomi is talking with Jacob about, the lawsuit situation, and she's second guessing it. And I love how, because my concern was, okay, I hope Naomi isn't too excited at the opportunity to stick it to her dad out of vengeance for what, he and Haley did to her mom, or his former wife. Because I feel like if she's too eager, she's going to overlook things like, what if these women are trying to play her? And what if she overlooks things that could hurt her case? She's actually taking time to consider all of her options. And I love that, because she's looking at the fact that, okay, the Depri family, viral drama has finally calmed down. And if I take on this case, the media is going to eat it up. Oh, it's daughter versus father. And basically, she's concerned that the family drama is going to overshadow 3 victims of sexual harassment. And I love how Jacob is supportive, because, he's being encouraging, but even better, not only is he stepping in to tell her what to do, he's saying, you know what, I think I know the person you need to talk to, directing her to her grandmother, which I just love that. So real quick, I'll touch upon Elon when he arrives at the police station. Look, I'm not saying that Elon and Anita had something going on the side back in the day, but there was an interesting interaction between them. That's all I'm saying, when he was over at the house. But I mean, maybe it's just because they're in-laws who get along pretty well, because I think Elon and Anita both agree that, yeah, we need to schedule like an in-law lunch or dinner sometime just to catch up, because it's been a while. So, you can tell the families to get along, because with the Depris being the Depris, I'm pretty sure, Jacob was put through the ringer before he got accepted, so to speak. Well, mainly by Bill. I definitely see Bill, grilling the detective before he married his daughter. And of course, we know how Vernon is, especially how he reacted to Tomas and Kat's breakfast date that a couple episodes ago. But yeah, Elon goes by the police station because, like Jacob, what he was telling Naomi about the detective giving him a funny feeling, he talks to his dad about the fact that, look, I saw Detective, Malone when we were on a stakeout. He pretty much, told me to not act when I saw Joey getting money from, some dude on the street. It just looked funky to me. Now, Elon kind of gaslit his son into like thinking like, oh, what you saw. Well, basically, look, he's a legendary detective for a reason. He has his own way of doing things. Basically, get your facts straight before you jump in, and try to arrest somebody. So he was low-key gaslighting his son. It's like, oh, don't worry. It's like, I know you saw something, but until you actually got, facts on what was going on with being some sort of, under the table, shady, illegal deal, no need to act. Just follow your partner and trust him. So that leads to something important later on in the episode, when Elon talks to the detective about, going easy on his son, because look, the hazing process is something that my son doesn't need to go through like we did back in the day. He's earned his stripes, and, don't treat him like crap, like he's your coffee or donut boy. He's your partner. But here's the thing. He's like, and play low key, because I don't want my son asking me questions that I can't answer. And I'm like, oh, snap. So basically, Malone's like, all right, go easy on the kids. Like, look, that's my flesh and blood. So if you mess with him, and if something happens to him, I'm going to find you. So it's like, oh, snap. So he calls Joey. Oh, there's a lot to say about Joey in this episode. Joey's at the casino, and he takes the call. And then the detective grills him on being stupid. Like, what's up with you taking that money from that punk on the side of the street, sidewalk in broad daylight? You got rookie cops who are eager to, make a name for themselves and like, to pin you down on something. And Joey's like, and that's what I pay you for. Nip it in the bud. So this to me is epic foreshadowing. And I was right. The freaking detective is a dirty cop. But you also have to look at Jacob's dad. I mean, is he taking deals under the table, or possibly in a situation where there are powers that be that the police department is not able to touch because, let's say, they're bought. They're basically someone like Joey, and who knows who how many other people have the cops in their pocket. Because, and I know people don't always get um my references to comic books and whatnot, but when it comes to like Batman, Gotham City, DC Comics, you look at Commissioner Gordon, who's a good cop, but he's part of a corrupt system. He's trying to be the good man, basically in an organization that is full of crooked cops left and right, but he's doing what he can. But the question is, what's going to happen in the long run? Will Jacob eventually have to twist his morals? Because it's like Harvey Dent said in Dark Knight about how, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I mean, maybe Detective Morgan was in the same vein. I mean, maybe because the way Elon was talking, he and Malone kind of came up through the ranks around the same time. And at some point, they probably learned that doing things by the book is not going to take you far. Like, who's to say Elon didn't twist the rules, take bribes, or turn the other way in order to get to the chief of police position that he's in right now? And when it comes to Detective Malone, he's not called a legendary detective for nothing. So he probably took deals under the table. Where I feel like Joey, I want to be real, Joey probably had a hand in the detective making it to the position that he's in. Because keep in mind, what did Joey say? Hey, I pay you to prevent issues like this. Basically, young punks, trying to make a name for themselves, trying to pin me on something. I pay you to keep these people in line. So it seems to me that Joey probably pulled some strings to help the detective reach the rank that he's in. Because if you have the person at the top of the food chain in your pocket, that's pretty much like, hey, if I got this dude under my influence, he's going to keep the little man, but the little people below him from trying to mess up my operation. So this could go deeper than we think. And then on top of that, I keep thinking about what the detective told Jacob basically when they first met. Look, I'm trying to get to the end of my end of my career and retire with Sheila, my boat. So keep your nose out of my business. Don't be rushing in head first, getting into some crap. And so essentially, I feel like that's foreshadowing of like, don't get into trouble because something might happen where I can't save you from, or even worse, I'm put in a position where I might get killed before my time to retire has come. So combine that with Elon threatening, the detective if anything happens to his son. So maybe Jacob will not Jacob. Maybe maybe Jacob will get into something, and then the detective, will kind of take a bullet for him. And then that's like, wow. So I'm very invested in this storyline. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Danny, but I love that the other characters are getting intriguing storylines now. I mean, yeah, 19 episodes is a lot, but each episode is they're building bricks one after the other, so the writing is very intricate. So, yeah, keep in mind, I'm almost at the 14-minute mark, and there's still so much to talk about in this episode. So, going back to the Depri estate when Naomi comes over to talk with her grandmother, and I just love the moments at the piano, since it seems that Naomi and Anita have a connection through music because, no doubt Naomi looked up to her grandmother for her musical career. And I think that's pretty cool. And she's expressing her reluctance to take on the case because of how it would look to the public. The media will spin it. And the fact that the Depris just got out of a scandalous viral media circus, and she doesn't want to put the spotlight on the family again. And Anita pretty much encourages her, but I love how at first she pretty much talks about how the odds are stacked against Naomi in terms of, look, I'm not downing your abilities, but you have to remember your dad has all sorts of different resources and whatnot that you don't. So it's pretty much David versus the Goliath, except honey, you don't even have a slingshot. So you're saying I shouldn't do it? I'm not. I didn't say whether or not you should do it or not. I'm just stating the facts. But she basically switches it up and says go for it because don't underestimate your abilities. Because she goes into detail about her career in terms of how um, me and the girls were on the road like 46 weeks out of the year in a beat up car, living off of fast food, soda, and sleeping from couch to couch and motel to motel, but I loved it. Then from there, went solo. We had a great career as a group, but then I went solo. Then had an acting career. And after that, I opted to, be a devoted wife and doing the charity work I do now. So it was like a light exposition dump, but just done with such flow that I was intrigued rather than feeling boggled down by so much dialogue. No, we got a lot of intel on Anita, who she was and who she is in the present. And I love the moment where she has a just a second. I think this was after Elon had left, I believe. She actually made a phone call about the banquet fundraiser coming up soon as well. But she takes a moment and looks at her old awards and for acting and singing and whatnot. So like I said, we get some foreshadowing for what might be coming sometime later in the season. But yeah, I love that she gives Naomi a vote of confidence about the blood that runs through me, runs through you. And, Depri women, we're strong, we're resilient. So just take that. Know that you're fighting for the right thing. And I know you're nervous about taking the case about what the negativity the press might bring, but you don't want to, let these women down, especially if, this sexual harassment thing is truly going on at the company, whether or not your father knows about it. So, man, oh man, this is going to be one heck of a week for episodes. I can tell you that right now. And I will skip to the ending real quick because Anita, man, I love this. I love this. Just the fact that she talks about how, look, I put down my microphone for singing quite a while ago, but I keep up with the trends right now with the Cardi Z's. And I don't know why. That just tickled me because it's so like that generation, the older generation, to not know the names or something. But I'm 33. Look, I'll tell you something embarrassing. Okay, so there's a artist named SZA, right? SZA, she's a big artist right now. It wasn't until like 5 months ago that I found out that it was pronounced SZA. You want to know what I said before that? SZA. I didn't know what the heck it was. I'm like, wait, what? I don't think I've never, and look, this isn't a knock against her. It's like, I haven't listened to any of her songs, not willingly. Like, I couldn't tell you any of her songs, but I'll tell you what, if somebody like showed me a reel that had one of her songs in the background, I might know, like, hey, oh yeah, I know that song from this video or meme I saw. So yeah, I can relate to Anita to some extent. But she asked Naomi to give her a beat, and she got some flow. She still got it. And then what was funny was when she flipped it and tried to get Naomi to do the same thing, freestyle, but she couldn't. But she's like, no, look, I can't. I mean, you never taught me that kind of stuff. So I just love it because it reminds me of a joke. I think hey, underrated comedian. I love his specials. But I remember one time, I think this was his only Netflix special he did, but he had a joke about how, look, you know how it is after you made some of yourself in life, you got a little bit of fame, a little bit of money, or whatever the case may be. You want to provide for your kids because you want your kids to grow up better than you, right? Right? But the thing is, you want them to have a little bit of street in them too, so they can understand, like, if they're trying to be hustled or, how to spot danger, that kind of thing. I feel like Anita is in the same boat where her and Vernon grew up in environments and whatnot that their kids didn't have to grow up in, and by extension, their grandchildren. However, when it gets to a point where you think that your blood has some of that, gusto in them, they don't. It's like, man, you too preppy, you too bougie, but that's okay. We didn't raise you like that, but you got to be in the pocket. You got to be in the pocket. I loved it. I love it. I love Naomi. So this scene with Anita was great. I loved it. And I think as the season goes on, we're probably going to get more Vernon stuff as well. I think for me, so far, we've really seen the softer side of Anita when she's with Naomi. as opposed to when she's with Danny, because she's stern with Danny. And when it comes to Vernon, it's kind of the opposite, where he's lighthearted with Nicole, but stern with his grandson Martin, mainly due to his arrogance. So that's an interesting dynamic there. Okay, so let's talk about it. Yeah, I got a lot of notes in front of me, guys. This is a big episode. So we spent a good amount of time at the diner in this episode too. Vanessa's there with Doug, and mid-conversation, Doug gets a text from Randy inviting him down to the casino. I'm like, man, this fool about to get deeper in the hole. But while he's talking with Vanessa, he's like, hey, you know, everything's going well at the hospital and everything, and I got some more time, so I can't wait to spend it with you. And you could tell by the look on her face that she's not too keen about that, because she's been doing a lot of extracurricular activities outside of realtor work that her husband clearly doesn't know about. Because when Randy texts Doug, she's like, oh, you got a little side piece I don't know about? Oh, baby, no. There's no side piece. You are the only side piece, main dish, lunch, dessert that I need. Basically, like, his sin in the marriage is not cheating. He's just gambling behind her back. Whereas Vanessa, what a roster. I bet she has more side pieces than clients. That's all I'm saying. But, you could just tell by the look on her face whenever Doug is saying how, oh, I can't wait to spend more time with you, yada, yada, yada. She's like, oh, man, it's like, I had this fun thing I was going to meet up with, and now I can't. What am I going to do with my draft? It's like she has more players on the side than a March Madness chart list. But he just decides to bounce because he's like, oh, got to go to the hospital. We got a new machine coming in. And he leaves but forgets his ID pass. And then that's when Joey just sneaks up out of nowhere. And before Vanessa can leave, he sits down and basically, under the guise of, yeah, I'm looking to purchase a home for my mother, you know, to avoid putting her in a retirement space. And I hear you're one of the best at what you do. So he's pretty much, you know, giving a sob story about how he wants to do this for his mom. And then Doug comes back and sees that Joey's with his wife. He comes up for the badge, and, you know, Vanessa's pretty dismissive. Oh, hey, here you go. Have a good day. And Joey acts like he's never met Doug before and vice versa. So he steps away and he's looking concerned because at this point, you know, Joey has made an impression. So basically after, you know, Joey says his piece and it's like, okay, you know what? Before the end of the day, I will contact you with some prospects. So Joey shakes her hand and they look at each other and then he leaves. So then Diego pops out of nowhere and Vanessa's face is priceless because he's like, oh, so first you were robbing the cradle, now you're robbing the grave. The look on her face was priceless. So this dude sits down. He's going to be a problem. He's very obsessive and territorial, and it's like he can't accept the fact that Vanessa is having fun. There's no commitment. It's like, look, when we're together, we're together. When we're not, we're not. Because he's like, so who do you want right now? Like your husband, Joey, me? And it's crazy because of the fact that Diego, he's just pissed off. Now, it's interesting because Vanessa says that, you know what, I didn't think too much of him because I hear Joey has a reputation, but I didn't know he had a side like that. So apparently Joey's magic is working on Vanessa because let's be real here. When it comes to Diego, it's like eye candy. When it comes to like all the other physical instructors around her, it's eye candy at the country club. Even that dude she was playing role play with, Zeke, I think somebody that she works with or something. That was kind of a lust, but I don't think I've seen Vanessa look at another man the way she looked at Joey as, you know, he was leaving, you know, when they were shaking hands. So I don't know, man. Doug, you better watch out. It's Mrs. to your girl. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm my bad. I promise I wouldn't sing anymore. I'm sorry. I got caught up in the moment. But later on, they are at the country club, and you know they're about to have sex because it's like, so you got time for that workout? And it's like, oh, great. So Vanessa, oh man, she is doing the most. So Randy's over at the hospital actually Randy catches up to Doug at the hospital, who is pissed off because he's like, what about your boy Joey? I saw him making googly eyes with my wife. And it's like, wait, what's going on? Maybe you misinterpreted. It's like, he's talking about getting a house for his mom. Well, how do you know he's not trying to get a house for his mom? And isn't your wife the best at what she does as a realtor? Yeah, I guess. Well, you know what? How about, you know what we need to do? We need to go out down to the casino. You know, man, the tables are hot. Pretty sure this is a good time for you to win some money. Matter of fact, after that, we're gonna have dinner because you're gonna win that money, and then you're gonna pay for my food. There we go. That's what we'll do. So he goes down to the casino, and I was ready. I was ready for him to just get deeper in the hole. But I, Randy loved his reactions. Joey is pissed because Doug is winning. He's like, at this rate, this boy is going to be out of the hole by lunchtime. What the hell, man? It's like, man, hey, Joey, calm down. These things happen. Well, you know, who come back tomorrow? But yeah, his luck will run out. He's having a lucky day. I'll let him have his one day. And I love Randy's face. He was smirking because Doug was, you know, constantly winning. And I like this because last week Joey was like, hey, you better not tell your friend who's a mark now about my plan, because you know what happens to people that rat on me. Yeah, I know. So it's cool to see Randy smirking because his boy is slowly but surely climbing out of the hole. And plus, Joey's probably pissed off because, like, man, I tried to play magic on his wife. I got her right where I want her, and now he's going to come out of the hole because, look, if a person doesn't owe me anything, then they're no longer a puppet for me to control. So I got to figure out a way to dig him deeper in this hole. Doug, if you only knew the trouble you were in. I'm like, this man could probably take the money he's won from his hot streak, put a major dent in his debt, go back to work, get a few patients, make that money back, and then be done with gambling. He's good to go. But no, Joey's trying to figure out a way to keep him down and out. So, from there, okay, we're almost done. The rest of the episode I need to talk about. Oh, okay. So over at the hospital, Eva spots Tomas, who's actually there to meet with one of his clients, and she fake bumps into one of like the carts in the the middle of the floor, saying, "Oh no, that cart came out of nowhere." And Tomas notices and helps her get her papers together. And when they sit down, she kind of flirts with him, asking like, "So yeah, how would Kat feel about you helping out someone like me?" Or she's just low key throwing shade at Kat during the conversation, and Tomas is like, "Well, I mean, me and Kat, well, we are, well, I don't even know what we're just casual. We're chilling. We're hanging out." So Eva kind of takes this opportunity. Eva knows what she's doing. She is good. I've seen some people online talking about, man, Eva, she's an even better manipulator than her mom when it comes to plans, because she pretty much, laid the trap out for Tomas with her flirtatious demeanor, and then decided, okay, well, I gotta go. It basically keeping him intrigued. It's almost like she was having him eating out of the palm of her hand, and right when he was about to take another bite, she took it away and then just went the other direction. So it left intrigue. So after the conversation was over, because he even calls out, "So why are you constantly bringing up Kat's name?" "Oh, well, I just didn't want to give her yet another reason to, hate me or whatever. And not to mention, she's the boss's daughter, so I better not, step into her territory, so to speak." But yeah, Tomas definitely got his eye on Eva right now. And this girl got chemistry with people. That's all I'm saying. Now, out of nowhere, he gets a phone call from Kat to come down to the diner, because over at the country club after a workout, Kat and Chelsea are talking about, the purse line. And Kat is really, interested in a major investor. However, Chelsea's like, "Hey, now, I mean, our whole thing was doing it, black independent, not ran by some boomer investor who's trying to tell us what to do." But Kat does bring up a good point. Look, I mean, this is a huge bag. I understand we have, our method of how we want to do it, but it wouldn't be responsible to turn our nose up at this deal with at least not hearing them out first. So they eventually go over to the diner to chat, and she's kind of grilling her cousin because, like, look, you are afraid to tell your mom about our plans, and that's holding things up. I missed my mom's award ceremony to go out of town for a business meeting for our purse line. We need to do something. So I love how Kat pretty much is like Chelsea's bestie, not just cousin. So they come up with a strategy in order to not manipulate Danny, but look, I know you're upset because you know your mom will freak out if you tell her you're going to quit modeling. However, look at it this way. First of all, you told me your mom's stunt increased your followers and interactions online by a massive amount. So just tell her, like, look, back in your day, you didn't have social media and whatnot, but through your guidance and my modeling career that you helped me, you know, begin and take it to where it is now, I gained this huge following. And I'm taking this following that you helped nurture and taking it into another level. So, mom, just like you broke away from the Depris and made your own lane by pursuing modeling and you were a hit, I want to do the same thing, not, you know, living the same life you did through modeling, but I want to follow your example and blaze my own trail through the purse line. So this is because of you. And that's actually pretty brilliant. So I am very intrigued to see how this conversation is going to go. Now, Chelsea is still freaked out because she's over at the country club again, and she's talking to herself, trying to practice how to say it. And Jacob overhears it, and, you know, he's like, wait, your dad's the chief of police, right? So he's kind of like your boss. Well, look, that's true, but he's the boss of many cops, not just me. But you can relate. So what I'm saying is, because I have a momager, how do you not blur the lines between professional and personal with your parent? Basically, yeah, there are a lot of things that I don't agree with sometimes, but at the end of the day, he earns his stripes and he's the guy who's in charge. So you got to trust their judgment. Now, sometimes it doesn't mean you can't have a conversation with them about something, but just be confident that, you know, you have a bond that's strong enough to where you can talk to them freely, respectfully, and make sure you're heard. And I love the fact that Kat supports her cousin, saying that, look, you're upset because you don't want your mom to feel like abandoned based off of what happened with, you know, Bill and everything. But at the same time, you can't sacrifice your life for your parents' happiness. So you got to do what's best for you. Now, she does have a brief conversation with Chelsea about Tomas in regards to not feeling that she's ready to have sex yet. And she's like, wait, he's not trying to pressure you, is he? No, 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 that's not it at all. Because, yeah, you said you don't want to have sex until you fall in love. And I think that's a beautiful thing, that they both have each other's backs. Now, the last thing to talk about is the fact that Tomas does come over to the diner. And the thing is, you know, Kat feels like there's some sort of distance between them. And, you know, when they're over the phone, Tomas is like, wait, well, I mean, you mentioned how you called not expecting me to pick up because the last time you did, last couple of times I didn't answer because I was busy. But let's not forget, I called you a couple times and you were busy too. So he makes it clear like there's no distance because of the lack of physical intimacy. Basically, Kat, just because you're a virgin, that doesn't mean anything. I think it's admirable. So don't think that because I'm not, you know, answering immediately the moment you call, I'm not being distant because you're not going to put out. That's not it whatsoever. Well, what about when I try to kiss you at the diner? Well, that's because, the country club. That's because my family was there, but they're not here now. And then they kiss, and you can tell she got chills. So, he walks her to her car, and things are seemingly looking up for him. So, I'm cheering for this couple, but I gotta admit, Eva, she got some, she got some chemistry with Tomas as well. Not to mention, you kind of want to stick it to Kat for the way she's been treating Eva, but we know that she's part of a bigger scheme. But at the same time, she has sabotaged her mom before, so who knows? But regardless, solid episode. Can't wait to watch episode 20 later today. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.